All right, guys, welcome to an all new episode of 2 Minute Drive Podcast. I am this week's host, Abraham Trevino. Alongside, I got Robert Palace in the
Let's
house.
go.
And our special guest this week is our boy Patrick. How's it going, Patrick?
What's going on, man? Doing all right.
Good. Glad that we can have you on the show. I know I was trying to get you booked last week, and then you had the Spurs opener to attend to. So I'm glad
Yeah,
you were able to make it this week, man.
You
yeah,
were at
man.
the opener?
We had a little viewing party, and it worked because I'm normally off on Wednesdays, and I don't know, work was crazy, so I finally got a way to like be able to leave work and on enough time to get here and do some quick notes.
That's cool.
All right. So week 8 is in the books. Real quick, Robert, did you have any topics you want to talk about or anything about from week 8?
I just want to say one thing, and I'm ready to go all in on this, and this will spoil my Super Bowl revision pick. But the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow are fucking back. If I were any team anywhere in the NFL, I don't want to play this team come like December, January. So I'm all in on them. Joey B, man, he just ripped apart those Niners. Did you see some of those? I saw like a chunk of the game, man, but the way he was escaping, like it was a madhouse, and man, I'm so glad to see the Bengals are back in play. That's my
Yeah,
takeaway from week 8.
yeah. Mine is going to be the Chiefs and the Broncos. I totally did not see that happening, especially that score.
Mm-hmm.
So that I mean, and I guess every team's allowed to lay an egg. But I mean, I didn't expect that from the Chiefs.
What about you,
Patrick,
Patrick?
I'll go safe pick, which is Cowboys beating the Rams 40-23. Uh, it's there are two sides of the Cowboys. There are the Cowboys that are like Michael Parsons looks like the best defensive player in the NFL, and Deron Bland's a Pro Bowler, and like all Dak has to do is like just drive the bus. And like to his credit, he played really, really well. Him and CeeDee Lamb looked as elite as any other pair in the league with the Tyreeks and the Travis Kelce's and whatnot. And then you have like Cowboys when they're playing the Niners, which is the exact opposite of that. But when the good times roll, they're rolling. Like they can
right?
steamroll anyone when they put it all together.
So going into that was one of my topics that I wanted to talk about on this week's show, and Robert, we won't go too long because I know you don't like talking about the Cowboys, but about this game. So and this could be a free for all for any of you guys that want to answer. So I was watching the game. Let me tell you a little bit. So I was watching the game, and you already saw Aaron Donald get to Dak Prescott, and I'm like, what the hell? This guy's not scrambling, whatever. I think he got sacked the first 2 times, if I'm not mistaken, on the first drive, and then I think he got sacked again. I thought it was going to be that kind of a game. Adding to what you said, Pat, with CeeDee Lamb needed that game because I know he's been showing some frustration in the past weeks. My question, and maybe this is more of like a Robert thing, do you feel like the Cowboys, when they play these teams, like, okay, so they face the 49ers, like the hard teams. Do you feel like this is more of the Cowboys just beating on mediocre teams that don't have anything to play for or don't really have their star players? What are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, we've seen the Cowboys against the Jets, the Giants, and then Arizona. We thought that was supposed to be another beatdown. It wasn't. What do you take on that? What do you think on the Cowboys?
Well, here's the thing. Like with me, it's like, yeah, it looks like hating from my side, but it's just like it's the same song and dance, right? They can beat up on these and I'm not saying the Rams are a nobody team, but this isn't the same Rams team that won the Super Bowl a few years ago, even no matter what Jake tries to tell you. And you look at the teams that they have beaten down on, the Giants, who we've seen are just a complete mess. The Patriots, who are just complete garbage. What's the other team that they put a beating on?
Jets.
The Jets. Zach
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, enough said, even though they got a really good defense. But Dak also was able to have his way in that game, so I'll give him credit on that. I'll even give him credit against the Rams. He had a really, really good game. I'll give him that much credit. But until I can see them, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a beatdown, but if they can put on a performance like this against a 49ers, against an Eagles, even a Detroit, I think they're going to play later on this season. Then we'll see where the Cowboys are going to stack up, like truly when it comes to deep playoff time and whether they're going to be able to make a run. If not, I mean, this is not surprising to me. I picked the Cowboys to beat the Rams. Jake was pounding his chest like, oh, utter destruction or whatever. But it's like, we've seen this story 1,000 times. And for me, the bar has always been, if the Cowboys can make an NFC title game, get past divisional round, then I'm going to be, I'll give you all the praise in the world. But until then, it's like, I've seen this movie a million times.
Do you think that the Cowboys, and anybody can chime in on this one, do you think the Cowboys should have made some kind of a move during that trade deadline yesterday? Like maybe I was hearing Derrick Henry for a couple of days about him being rumored. Do you think that move should have been done, or maybe adding Devontae Adams? But I know you said that the Raiders were not going to trade him regardless of what's going on with his situation. But I mean, like you saw, so sorry, but you saw like how the Niners got Chase Young, and then and then I told you about the Bears, and yeah, that is what it is. They got swept, but either way, I mean, do you feel like the Cowboys are good where they're at and they can do something, or they should have picked somebody up?
Go ahead and take this one, Patrick. You probably more.
Good, because I wrote this down. Tony Pollard's not a feature back. Like he's really, really good. He's really good when he's next to like a guy like Zeke, who's going to get you all the short yardage.
Right.
But he's not a guy that you want to give the ball 20 times to, right?
Right.
And like the Cowboys have figured this out. I went back and did some. So the first 3 weeks, he averaged 25 touches a game. Since then, 15 and a half, right? And like there's reasons that they were like using fullbacks near the goal line, and they're like trying to have someone that can have this short yardage back. I don't think I would have like traded for Derrick Henry, because this isn't Madden and they're not going to give you like they're going to want more than like a 6th round pick or something. But like Latavius Murray, guys like that, like, hey, what does it cost to get like Gus Edwards? Well, I mean, just someone in that kind of range where it's like, it's not going to be a lot. And it's going to be, just someone that's legitimately good for those 2-3 yards, to convert those 3rd and 1s. And Tony Pollard's just kind of not, he's not going to be built for that. This team is really missed like that Zeke type, even if it's not Zeke necessarily. They need someone like that to be like, hey, a Deontay Foreman, if he's not going to get, I mean, he's playing right now, but if they're not using someone like that, hey, how much does it cost to get someone like that just for those short yardage situations?
What about someone like the Bills ended up picking him up, but Leonard Fournette, would have been something?
Oh,
maybe?
Yeah. I was just about to say that right now.
Yeah, he's playoff Lenny.
Yeah, just to get you like those red zone touchdowns, which has been a problem for the Cowboys scoring, even if, like, God forbid, I mean, they weren't going to trade him, but Derrick Henry would have helped in those kind of situations, I think, for you guys, and also for like time of possession too. Because if you start playing like the high powered offenses, like a Detroit or even a Niners, once they get it together, which I believe they will, you're going to want to control the time of possession and the clock and keep those quarterbacks off the field. So any one of those backs would have helped.
Right. Real quick before we move on from this one, from this topic, Pat, this is more for you. Are you content with the play calling from Mike McDaniel, or what is it, Mike McCarthy? And
no way is Mike McDaniel. No way.
With Mike McDaniel getting fired. Come on, Robert. I mean, do you see that? Maybe it's a possibility.
Wait, who are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about Josh McDaniels. You keep saying Mike McDaniels. That's Miami.
Mike McDaniel's job is secure.
No, Mike McCarthy's play calling on the OC side.
It's so I'm the Cowboys have had play calling issues for as long as I could remember. Like since Dak has taken over, they've had such an issue with like, is it Kellen Moore? Is it Mike McCarthy? Is it whoever else? Like they always kind of get in their own way like that. The Cowboys play calling is really, really predictable. They don't really run out of shotgun. So if they're in the gun, surprise, surprise, we can plan for that. If they're under center, they know that it's going to be a run, and when you have a back like Tony Pollard, if he's not getting that initial burst where he's having a fight behind the line, like it's gonna be a dead play. So no, I'm not a big fan of it. That being said, it's not gonna change. So we just kind of got to roll with it. You just kind of have to hope that the defense plays its part every single game so that you're always going to be in decent position. And then when we're touching back real quick, we're looking at talking about how can the Cowboys beat a good team. So I went through the rest of their schedule. So you have the Eagles, right? Then you go Giants, Giants, Panthers, Commanders. Okay. And then the last 5 games, Seahawks, Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions.
Oh,
Like
wow. That's a tough stretch.
The last 5 games are really going to see like what is this team doing? Because even if we beat the Eagles this Sunday, right? Even if we beat the Eagles this Sunday, they're those last 5 games are all teams that are going to be playoff games, and that's really going to see like, is this the same song and dance, or do we actually have something?
Right.
I wanted to ask real quickly. So as far as like the offense being like, I guess vanilla is the wrong word, but just being predictable. If they were more creative, like is it more the coaching, or do you think it's Dak? Because they had Kellen Moore, and do you think that he just didn't have the quarterback to be as a creative of a play caller, or I don't know.
I think it's Dak. Dak, when he before the injury occurred, he was scrambling, he was running, he was a runner, and like he would get out of the pocket. But now, I think it's Dak.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, right? So when you have Kellen Moore, who's like Kellen Moore is gonna call some shit that you're gonna be like, that doesn't make sense. Like he's doing in Los Angeles right now. Like he's gonna have some weird play calls. But Dak is also like you said, like post injury, post 2020, he's been the more of a bus driver than you have been, which is fine if you're gonna have predictable play calling, but you have to have like solid plays and solid players that lead up to that, right? This is like what, and I'm gonna go back to this because it's like the biggest thing for me with the Cowboys is like when it's 3rd and 2, like what are we running? And if we're gonna run a dive up the middle for 2 yards, like do we have the personnel to do that? And like they don't. Like this line isn't fantastic. It's not 2014 anymore where we can kind of just say, yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. We're gonna run this up the middle, and DeMarco Murray is gonna get this first down. So it's a little bit of both. It's like Dak's not gonna have these like magic moments where you see guys like Tua or Mahomes or whoever else. He's not gonna really have that. But also because the play calling, or because you don't have a quarterback that's going to do all that, you have to get a little bit more creative with the play calling. It's one of the two has to go, right?
Yeah, right. All right. Well, great topic on that one with the Cowboys victory on Sunday. Moving on now to our top 5 power rankings. This will be, you want to go first, Robert?
Yeah, give me a second here. Let me pull it up. All right. So after post week 8, my number 5, and I mentioned them at the top of the broadcast, the Cincinnati Bengals are back in here. Joe Burrow knocking off the 49ers. They just look like the Bengals of old, man. I'm just saying, like, and it's been the same story with this team the last 2 seasons. They start off sluggish in September, but here we are. We're getting close to November, and what do I say? Once we get closer to Thanksgiving, we start finding out who the real teams are, and watch out, here comes Cincinnati again.
Man, I mean,
what? No. You want to be in denial? Go ahead and be in denial, and then we'll see Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'll go ahead and go next, and I'm going to go with the Ravens with my number five spot. They did, I mean, they beat the Cardinals, but I mean, like I said, their defense, they're missing some pieces, but they're still playing, especially Lamar Jackson. So I got the Ravens at five. Pat.
Uh, I got at five. I got the Cowboys. It's hard to
Ooh,
be left off the list, and I was debating between them and the Jags, but it's hard to be left off the list when you have like scratch everything we just said. When the Cowboys are like on, like they are on. Like
Mm-hmm.
Deron Bland looks like a Pro Bowler. Like uh, Dak and CD Lamb look elite, and it's yeah, we can say like it was just the Rams. It's you still put up 40 points. They're still like blocking punts and kicks and things like that on
right.
the defensive side. Like yeah, I'm gonna go with the team that had one of the biggest margins of victory and put up one of the biggest points totals.
I'm just gonna say when you say elite in front of Robert, you got to make sure you plead your case on that one because he'll.
And no, I can't disagree with that this week as far as like Dak's performance. It was one of those where I was waiting for one of those type of games, like 4 touchdowns and connecting with Lamb. And I tell this to Jake all the time, like that's Dak. No, when he
Right.
says like Dak being like a top whatever quarterback he thinks he is, like that's what I was
Right.
waiting for. Like these other scores were all like very like defensive led, and the
Hmm.
defense did their part too in this game. But here it's like Dak was throwing the ball, Dak was throwing those touchdowns. I mean, I saw a chunk of that game, and he was just throwing those touchdowns like nothing. So, props to him for that, and I'm not going to disagree with that this week.
Of course. All right. Heading into our number four pick, I'll go ahead and lead us off on this one. I've got the Dallas Cowboys at number four. That
Interesting.
watching that game, like like Pat was saying, Deron Bland, he's great. There's been times where he's been burned, but I also got to give credit to my boy, number 21, Stephon Gilmore. Robert hates Gilmore.
I don't hate him. You totally misinterpret what I
But
think of
but
that guy.
no. But let me continue. Let me continue. Michael Parsons, come on, huh?
He's good,
But
but
no
also
no 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 no.
when it doesn't go his way, he pouts.
Okay.
He's like
Anyway,
he's like
Demarc.
Des Bryant. He was like Des Bryant.
Hey, you know what? Look, they played great. With the defense, and then Dak making the plays that he did. He's doing a little bit, little spin moves and all that. But yeah, I got the Cowboys at number four.
Uh, I'll go number four. I know they had the worst game of the season, but it's still number four. I got the Chiefs. Um, like a down year for Pat Mahomes is to this point 15 touchdowns, 8 picks,
He has
2,200
8 picks for
yards.
the year.
Yeah, I think he leads
Yeah.
the league
Holy
or is like
moly!
up there. Uh, all that to say, like that's still really good. And say what you want about like all the distractions between like the whole Kelsey Swift thing, like that they are doing this with YMCA guys at wide receiver. Like they have no one to count on outside of like Travis Kelsey and like
Right.
sometimes Isaiah Pacheco. Um, the only reason they weren't higher is because you lost to the Broncos, which is what happens when you have to rely on other people who aren't maybe NFL players at any other team, except for when when you can just kind of what's the word I'm looking for? When you can, oh, we're gonna cut this out. We're gonna cut this out.
Not always.
When you can kind of work off of like the best tight end that's maybe ever played the game, or at least really up there. Um, yeah, I mean they might have lost, but it's hard to count on Pat Mahomes, and until that time comes, like he's going to be up there.
I kind of compare it right now to like when those years when it was just like Brady and Gronk and like Julian Edelman was hurt and Brady just had a bunch of other just like kind of like little name receivers or no
Yeah,
names, I should say. And it could get you far enough, but it wasn't enough for like a Super
yeah.
Bowl, even though they're still like competitive. So the Chiefs are going to be in it. Like I have no doubt about that, but is it going to be enough to get back to the big game? I don't see it this year. And especially at the trade deadline, I was looking for them to make like a big move. but they didn't do it. So yeah, but I
Yeah, the
mean,
N'Keal Harrys of the world.
yeah. My number 4 is the Seattle Seahawks, who quietly moved into the first place spot in the NFC West after the Niners dropped their third game in a row. I like the way this team's playing. They're feisty. They got a chip on their shoulder. Um, don't know how much I truly believe in Geno Smith, but right now they're getting the job done. We'll see when they end up facing the 49ers later in the season how that's going to go. But right now, like they're doing what they need to do. They're winning their games and they're sitting at the top of their division, so they're my number 4.
All right, great. Going into our number 3, Pat, you want to lead us off with the number 3?
Number 3, I have the Ravens. It was a quiet game for
Mm-hmm.
for Lamar, but like to this point of the season, he's been awesome. He's completing like 70% of his passes. We can talk about how when we're talking about like they don't really have the Chiefs don't have uh big guys at receiver. The Ravens are never gonna have like a 1,200-yard season from any of the receivers as long as they run the kind of power running scheme that they do. But it doesn't really matter. Like they find usage out of Gus Edwards, they find usage out of Justice Hill, and Lamar's going to like has I think like 400 yards rushing so far this season. Um, he doesn't mess up, right? He doesn't lose them games. So even though it was a quiet game, they still ended up beating them 31-24, the Cardinals. Um, Even if they let them hang around just a little bit too long, it's like, well, we know, like they're like, all right, it's time to like win, and they don't lose games that they're not supposed to.
Yeah, totally. My number 3, I'm going to go ahead and go. My number 3, I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Going into Steeler Nation and beating the Steelers with that defense. I mean, so not bad. And like I said, I mean, the Jaguars in the very beginning, I mean, they're a team to watch. Also, Trevor Lawrence uh, playing really good. I think he's winning in the stats, right? Right, Robert, with you and Jake.
Yeah. Hey, flip that little debit card you have there around and get the digits. I don't know what you're holding there. Sorry. Jesus. Watch out with
Uh, any,
that.
anyway, nah, it doesn't work anymore. It's an
Oh,
old
okay.
card. But yeah, I got the Jaguars at number 3.
Abe, so do I. They've if I think I heard this right on television, they've won 5 straight.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're doing what they need to do. Like I said, I've got my season long bet going on with Jake with Trevor Lawrence versus Dak Prescott. Wasn't too impressive, but it's a team game, so I'm not expecting Trevor to be like lights out every week. Yeah, man. They're moving up, and we'll see. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs earlier this season. If they were to match up again right now, I think I'd kind of maybe favor the Jaguars a little bit. Not by much, but I think it would be a better fight this time. I just want to see how they stack up against like the Baltimores, the Cincinnati's, and even the Buffaloes, or they beat the Buffalo Bills. But I just want to see if they can continue to win big games like that, and then we'll see how far they'll make it in the playoffs.
Good stuff. Pat.
Number 2, I have the Dolphins. Um, that's the best receiving duo in the league, and it's not close. Tyreek Hill is the best of the best, and Jalen Waddle is probably the best number 2 wide receiver you could have. Tua is doing everything he can to like not get hit and stay upright. Uh, Raheem Mostert's been a revelation this season. Like, this is a guy for like 8 years. You're like, hopefully he stays healthy. And here he is leading. Here he is leading this backfield when you have other, Jeff Wilson going down and A-Chain going down, and he's just kind of been steady. He's had really good performances until they show me that they're not that team. Which I mean, that's why that's my pick for game of the week. Like, yeah, they look as good as anyone else in the league. Not to mention that defense, it has its issues, but like you have Xavier Howard coming back, and you have Javon Holland coming back. Jalen Ramsey looked really good. So, uh, yeah, number two for me.
I think he got a pick six,
Yeah,
I
Jalen
think
Ramsey
right?
got a
so.
pick
Yeah,
six, or almost a pick
Yeah.
six on Mac Jones with a terrible throw. Um, yeah. Are the Miami Dolphins kind of a little bit the Cowboys of the AFC, meaning like they can beat up on these teams, but then when they face like we've seen it twice already that with
The,
Philadelphia and who was the other team and Buffalo where they
the
couldn't.
Buffalo.
But I mean, again, those were without Jalen Ramsey and the other guys that Pat mentioned were coming back. Um, although I think Miami obviously is more creative on the offensive side of the ball. But if Dallas could do that, I mean, it's a kind of reflection of the same kind of team. Although I think Tua is probably a little better than Dak, but
Uh, definitely,
I don't know. I just thought I'd
definitely on that.
notice that little comparison. My
All
number
right.
two is the Baltimore Ravens. The only reason I don't have them at number
Mm,
one is because I didn't like how Arizona hung around in that
yeah.
last game. I know it's just one game, but that kind of didn't sit well with me. You know, they got that onside kick on Nelson Aguilar, and then they almost got him again that second time, which would have kept Arizona in it for no reason. But yeah, no, they still got a really good squad. My thing with the Ravens has always been like just injuries. You know, this team, if they get injured on any side of the ball, it's going to be that's been like their downfall for the last couple of seasons now. But when they're upright, I mean, I could see a Baltimore making it to the AFC Championship game easily.
Yeah, good point on that one. I'm gonna go with the Lions with my number two pick.
Mm.
I I know that they beat the Raiders, and I know the Raiders got some issues going on, but the Lions, I mean, they're strong. I like them going into this season, and I think they're gonna make it pretty far in the playoffs. Not I'm not saying Super Bowl for them, but I'm gonna go with the Lions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No argument there.
Number one, Robert. You want to lead off with the number one?
Sure. My number one is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Man, they've just
yeah,
become this team like like the way the Patriots would back in the day, like just they find ways to win even when they're not playing their best football. And these two divisional games that they've had with the Commanders, yes, they played them close. The divisional games are usually like that, so you can't really say like, oh, Washington's like a garbage team or whatever. I mean, they are, but I mean, when it comes to divisional games, throw that out the window. These teams know each other better than anybody. But they keep finding ways, and that tush push that they do. I mean, it's become an ace in their hole. And until somebody can prove otherwise to stop that or stop them from, make them other teams beat themselves, and you're not going to beat championship teams like that. And I can, Philadelphia until they get not bullied around, and I can see them easily continuing to win a lot more games.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna bounce off of you on that one because my number one is the Eagles as well. They finally got a fumble with the tush push. I
Oh, did
don't
they?
know yeah, they did. They fumbled.
But it wasn't a tush
The
push, no. Wasn't it just like
Yeah, yeah. No, it
are
was a
you
tush push.
sure?
I'm positive.
I'm
Look
gonna
it
look
up.
that
I'm
up. I'll
telling you.
look
Yeah,
that up.
look it up. Yeah, the tush
Okay.
push got a fumble. But AJ Brown,
Mm.
he's playing phenomenal this year. And Jalen Hurts, you haven't heard much of him, but he's still playing pretty good as well. And then with Swift, and then like I said, their defense got bolstered with Bayard that they got, the All Pro from Tennessee. So I
Mm.
mean, they made some moves, and that was a good move to beef up that defense to go along with Slay. So for now, until anybody can knock them off, I got the Eagles.
yeah. This is a boring number one. It's the Eagles, right? Like, like this is
uh,
boring.
uh,
I didn't even write that many notes. I was just like, yeah, best record in the NFL. Jalen Hurts can still turn it on. Um, I did write this down. AJ Brown has 125, at least 125 yards receiving in every game since week three. Like he has been crazy these past few weeks. Divisional games are always close, so yeah, 38-31 against like a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs. Like we get it.
Mm.
Um, But the biggest thing I know is that like they have when they line up for the tush push, they're also running other plays out of that, right?
Right.
And like now you can counter that, and you have like DeAndre Swift touchdowns and stuff like that because you're running other things out of that formation. So yeah, I mean Eagles until someone proves otherwise.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So that wraps up our top five power rankings for week 8. And now I'm going to head over to our season stats, our weekly picks. Robert, are you ready for
Yeah.
the rec? So I went ahead and I went 8-8. I don't know what's going on. I'm in a bit of a slump, but I'll pick that up this week. Robert with
You're trying to be too slick with your picks instead of being
you know
smart.
what? Hey, you know what? Sometimes it happens.
Mm.
Robert went 12-4.
Let's go.
Jake went
Jeez.
10-6. So for the
Mm.
season, I'm 61-45. Robert, you took a 4-game lead over me with 65-41. Jake 51-52, still under 500. And then now that we got Patrick on here, now we can add his at the end of this week as well. So our special guest is still at 10-5, which is still a better record if you think about it than Jake.
Correct. Accurate.
All right. So that being said, are we ready to head on to the weekly matchups?
Yes, sir.
All
So
right,
just real
Robert.
quickly, because I'll be running these down. So Patrick's got the Dolphins Chiefs as your game of the week. Your game was which one, Abe?
Mine's the Cowboys Eagles.
Cowboys Eagles. Okay, and I know what mine is. So we'll save those games for the end, and we'll talk about those three. So let's start with the week 9 matchups starting Thursday night, Amazon Prime. It's the 3-4 Tennessee Titans traveling to face the 4-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. Who wants to kick us off here?
I'll go ahead and hit us off here. This is going to be the Steelers. Well, they're without Pickett, right? He's out with rib
Yeah,
injury.
because I saw Trubisky playing in that last game.
Right,
I mean, I don't know.
True.
I mean, we're recording this on a Wednesday, folks, so really not sure what the status is of Pickett.
I was gonna ask you real quick. So with Titans going with what's that guy's name?
Will Levis, baby.
Will
the new
Levis.
Brady,
Hey,
the new Brady and Moss. I'm just kidding.
Hey, yeah, with DeAndre Hopkins. I'm gonna go with the Titans on here because Trubisky, I don't trust him. So this is gonna be one of those games. I'm not too sure. Maybe low scoring. I'm gonna go Titans though.
Go ahead and go, Pat.
Yeah, I'm also going Titans. And when you have two backup quarterbacks that are going against each other, to me, it usually just goes down to like where your momentum is trending. And when you have your backup go for was like 4 touchdowns, 3 to Andrew Hopkins, like using him the way that the Titans have wanted to use him this season, it like they have all the momentum in the world right now. And then when you're gonna have to rely on Trubisky. Who I'm sure the Steelers don't want to use at all. And they were already kind of like struggling between like, are we good? Are we a 500 team? Are we below 500? Like they could very well be a 7-10 team and win like 4 games the rest of the season. So we'll go Titans.
All right.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. This will be, I think, an ugly.
Gosh,
it's gonna be an ugly game. I think the Will Levis thing will be a little bit of fool's gold this week. And that Steelers defense is they're gonna eat them up good. Steelers are at home. They're pissed off that they lost to the Jags. What was that one player that was just cursing up a storm and blaming the refs for? So those Steelers are gonna play angry. Mike Tomlin will have that defense ready to go against Will Levis. He's not gonna have the same results of him connecting with DeAndre. Who did the Titans play that they were able to do all that scoring with? Someone can look that up real quickly.
I'll look that up right now.
Yeah, but either way, TJ Watt versus his rookie quarterback. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Steelers, and only because they're also the home team. But again, I'm not expecting a lot of great quarterback play from either side, so it'll be like a 13-10 kind of game.
They played the Falcons.
Okay, thank you. That's enough. Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers.
All right,
we're all good on that game. So let's head over to Sunday, the noon games. First one up we got are the 4-4 Minnesota Vikings, led by Joshua Dobbs, traveling to face the Taylor Heineke And the Atlanta Falcons, what's going on here with all these quarterback changes at 4-4? Pat,
Oh,
why don't
dang,
you what were you gonna say?
Heineke's over at Atlanta.
Yeah, he's gonna start.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Pat, go ahead and start off with this one up first.
I'll go Falcons. There's just more talent, right? Like the Vikings, yeah, they have the quarterback advantage because Josh Dobbs is actually a pretty decent quarterback. But outside of that, like you have uh, Tyler Algier last season was 1,000 yard rusher, and he's not even their main running back. But you have Bijan Robinson, who they're starting to outside of that one game that he like got like 3 snaps or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna keep him involved. You have Drake London. I'm not even gonna mention Kyle Pitts because we don't know what happens. But like Drake London over the past 2 weeks has shown that like he's a guy that you can go to for consistent yardage. Even with the quarterback, like Desmond Ridder wasn't like the greatest passer, anyway. So yeah, if quarterback change, I don't matter. Like that running scheme that they do, and they have a really sneaky good defense. Like, well, I think it's gonna be trouble when we're having to go against Josh Dobbs has to learn the whole new playbook, so it's gonna be
Right.
really really simple. And then B, like he just doesn't have the weapons that you would otherwise be promised. No Dalvin Cook, no Justin Jefferson. Like all those guys are gone, and you're gonna have to lean on KJ Osborne. Like, I just don't see it going well for this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off you a little bit. I'm going with the Falcons as well, and I know I just shitted on them in the last pick with the Titans, but that was with a Desmond Ritter led team. This is Taylor Heineke, who I've loved ever since when he debuted against the Buccaneers in the wild card game a few years ago, and he like balled out, and he's got a little bit of a gunslinger in him. So, and as you mentioned, Joshua Dobbs barely getting picked up, so he's got to learn the playbook. I know he's picked up offenses really quick, bouncing from team to team. I think this is his 4th team already. He was on the Titans, the Browns, and then just most
Steelers.
recently he was with the Steelers too.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, this guy's been around. Okay, yeah. Either way, still got to learn a whole new offense, and Justin Jefferson's not back yet, even though they got Addison, who's proved to be a really nice little wild card that they have. But like you said, Falcons got way more talent, and this should give them a little bit of juice. They're still in position, leading the NFC South, so they still got something to fight for. So Falcons.
Nice. Yeah, I think the Cardinals should thank the Cowboys for getting that draft pick or whatever out of Joshua Dobbs because yeah, the Cowboys made him look like a Pro Bowler for that one game he played. Yeah, I think he's a piece of shit. And the Vikings
Jesus.
are a mess. The Vikings are a mess. The Falcons have more weapons. Pitts, I don't know that guy's got to get it together. I think he will eventually, but I'm gonna go Falcons.
Okay. All right, moving on. We got this one's actually a good. This was like a kind of like a runner up for game of the week for me. The 5-2 Seattle Seahawks traveling to face the 6-2 Baltimore Ravens. Abe, do you want to go first?
Yes, I will. Man, I don't know.
Come on.
They're playing in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore's defense is led by you know who.
Please.
I, I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens. I mean, yeah, you got to go with the hot hand Lamar Jackson. I don't know what the hell happened to OBJ, man. He hasn't really been there, but they don't really need him. So, with that running game of Gus Edwards, and Lamar Jackson, I got to go Ravens on this one.
What do you got, Pat?
Yeah, I'm also going Ravens. It's the Seahawks are a really balanced team. Like they have a good running back, they have a very solid quarterback, they have uh, a good receiving options. But they don't have an MVP caliber player. Like none of those guys, right? Lamar Jackson, again, he's been awesome this whole year. It's really, really hard to beat teams that are really run heavy at home and they also have a good defense. And that checks everything that the Ravens have. And that's why they're 6-2. So yeah, I'm gonna go with, and also the Seahawks being leading the NFC West uh doesn't really like that doesn't scare me that much because I think at some point the 49ers come back. Like I don't think they're as good as their record shows. and it's going to start to falter. So I'll say, yeah, let's go Ravens.
I got the Ravens as well. I think this one's going to be a little bit more closer than what you think, but the reason I'm giving the edge to the Ravens is I think Baltimore is an underrated place to play on the road, or at least that was maybe the case for my Patriots. Like they always struggled there and could barely win in that stadium. So that crowd's going to be roaring for this game. It's I think it's a must win for both teams just to keep on top of and pace, with the Bengals coming back up in the AFC North. And then, of course, the 49ers are obviously right there with the Seahawks. So both of these teams are going to fight hard. But like I said, Ravens at home, Lamar will get that one bigger play because he's an MVP type caliber player. And yeah, I got the Ravens.
Yes.
Okay, next up we got the 1-7 Arizona Cardinals traveling to face the 4-3 Cleveland Browns. I'll go first. Let me go first. I don't have much to say here. Again, I'm on narrative watch here, so F it. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. Just because I want the Bengals to continue to climb in this division. I think they're in third or fourth right now. So, and my feelings on Deshaun Watson, even though the Browns defense is completely stout. I mean, and I know this is maybe a dumb pick on my end, but I have narrative reasons why. And I'm up like so many games on Abe right now, so I can afford. If I'm wrong on this one, no big deal.
You ain't Cardinals. Shit. I'm gonna go with the Browns. The Cardinals have a no-name quarterback. I don't even remember his name. It's some stupid name.
Shock the world.
I'm gonna go with the Browns. PJ Walker's playing a good football.
Is it still PJ Walker, or is Deshaun gonna come back, or what?
Deshaun's freaking. He's milking it, man. He's got that $230 million contract.
Pathetic.
Oh well, I don't know because I'm going Browns either way, but I know they traded Peoples Jones, and he was a good slot receiver, so. They still got Cooper, so I'm going to go with the Browns.
Yeah, Browns. Arizona stinks. There's not much to it, right? Like their one win was against the one team that falls to all these trap games, right? So yeah, Browns. They have a really good running game. Jerome Ford's been a great addition in light of Nick Chubb going down. Kareem Hunt's doing his thing. It doesn't really matter if it's Watson or PJ Walker. They have Elijah Moore and they have Amari Cooper. Like they're just an actual football team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're good on this one. Next up, we got the 3-5 Los Angeles Rams traveling to face the 2-5 Green Bay Packers. Who wants to go first?
I'll go because it's a shit ass game. I don't even think Stafford's gonna play because of that thumb. And Love is just playing like shit. But I'm gonna go with the Packers because they're playing at home. If Stafford doesn't play, then Packers. But I mean, I'm still picking him either way. But if Stafford plays, I still don't.
Who's the backup for the Rams?
Oh man,
is it that kid from Georgia?
Yes.
Bennett or something like that?
No, it's not Bennett. It's I think it's like Lyle or shit. I can't remember. It starts with an L.
Damn, I was gonna say I don't know who the backup is, but I don't know if they got a decent enough guy that could throw the ball. I mean, you still got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I trust them getting the ball as opposed to whoever Jordan Love's throwing to. And even though the Packers are at home, I got the Rams. I don't have much to say, but. Yeah, I'm gonna just go with the Rams on this one.
Yeah, this is fitting into my narrative right here.
Yeah, because what you want to catch up? I always shock the world every week, Abe. You get mad at me for going on a limb on some of these games, and I end up winning.
You don't do shit. When I go on a limb, you want to.
How could you pick Denver against I don't know who it was, and they won?
You did. No, you didn't, motherfucker. You did not. No, you didn't pick. You didn't pick Denver again. You didn't pick Denver against.
Well,
the Chiefs.
I remember when I said Denver was going to beat Green Bay, and you're like, why are you wasting your one win for them on the Green Bay Packers? And what did they do?
Okay. And I didn't give you shit. I didn't give you shit about that. Huh?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying mine going out on a limb works out for me better than when you do it.
Yeah, because I'm in your fucking head, that's why.
Nah. I'm winning. How could you be in my head if I'm winning?
Whatever.
That's
All
right.
right.
All right, Pat, who do you got in this game?
So I was originally gonna go Rams, and then I
Oh,
looked up who the starting quarterback was, and it's Brett Rippin. So I'm changing
Brett
to Packers.
Rippin. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
It's,
Yeah, there's some.
Is that the guy from
I,
Georgia? Is that his name?
the only thing I
Ah,
remember of Brett Rippin was when he played a full NFL game and he had 3 picks and 82 total yards. Therefore, Jordan Love. Let's go.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's the only
yeah.
thing I remember about him.
That's right. It Rippin. Yeah.
I I don't like this Packers team at all. I'm not huge on Aaron Jones. AJ Dillon sucks. Christian
Yeah.
Watson's okay, but Love is a competent NFL quarterback. And as much as I wanted to say, like, hey, this backup, the backup for the Rams still has Cooper Cup. You still have Puka Nakua. Their running game is depleted. Like Daryl Henderson and Royce Freeman are your guys. Like those are people you'd be excited for 4 years ago. Um, but it's not 4 years ago. So uh, Packers and probably by like 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Next up, we got the 3-4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to face the Houston Texans at 3-4. Let me go first here. Buccaneers are not out of it yet, even though all the analysts and all the pundits want to say that they should have been, sellers at the trade deadline. They're still in contention here for the NFC South. They're only a game behind. Texans just lost and gave the Panthers their first win of the season. This Texans team is going to be up and down, even though I do like CJ Stroud. Texans are at home. I think this will be hard fought, but I think Baker's going to bounce back and have a really good game here against the
Oh,
Texans. So I'm going Buccaneers.
God bless.
What?
Um,
Yeah.
I picked Houston as my surprise team this year, and they've been surprising. I'm gonna go Texans because CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield in this matchup. I've been looking at Baker in these past few games, and he just can't get shit going, man. The defense is really good though, but so is the Texans defense as well. So this might be like a low scoring type of game. It might come down to maybe like a field goal to win this, but I'm gonna go with the Texans.
I'm going Buccaneers.
Let's go.
Baker,
Yes.
Baker Mayfield very sneakily has had a pretty good season so far. And I cannot stand him, but like sneakily a pretty good season. Um, they have a good defense. I know no one cares about like the Buccaneers running game, but Rashad White has also been like he's had a good like 3-ish weeks.
Yeah, I
And
agree there.
it's starting to look like he's the guy that's going to give them like extra yardage in the passing game. You still have Mike Evans there. I really really like CJ Stroud. I really like Nico Collins. But when I look at like the fact that their feature back last year is losing work to Devin Singletary in a very close game, it's just going to come down to like who can convert these short yardage plays. And I don't have faith in Devin Singletary, and I don't have faith in Damian Pierce. We saw Damian Pierce last week score, and then it got reversed, and then they got stuffed at the one.
Mm.
So for that, I'm going to go Buccaneers.
Take that,
All
Abe.
right.
You were the one that was all on the Baker train, and then now
I
you're just
mean,
like,
yeah, I got it. But I said the Texans were my surprise team. Did you not hear me say that?
oh
So I
yeah,
got
I
to
did,
roll with
but
that. I got to
yeah,
roll with that.
but then you were all no, but then you're all like getting mad at me when I went against the Buccaneers, and you're like all about Baker, and shut up, you're the same.
You
You're
know what?
you're,
No,
you're off and
no, no, no,
on.
no, 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 because I'm not a
You're hot and
diehard
cold.
fan. I'm not a Homer fan like you are.
I'm not a Homer fan. I tell it like it is.
You
You'll
fucking
hear in
you
the
admit
next
it right
game.
now. You admit it right now. You admit
You'll
it
hear
right
in the
now.
next game, which we're going to get to right now, which is the 3-5 Washington Commanders traveling to face my New England Patriots at 2-6. For the love of God, let me go here. Patriots, it's gone about as bad as it could get. They didn't do anything at the trade deadline. They didn't sell pieces for draft picks, so I guess they're still going to try to muster whatever they can out of this season. Washington got rid of their best defensive player, probably their best player on their team. Ron Rivera, I don't trust on the road, and I think Belichick will do just enough to get the W here. Although the Patriots it's a lost season, and that's how's that for someone who's a homer? The season's lost, but they'll get a W here. So take that, Abe.
No, I ain't taking shit.
Yeah. F you. You're not going next. I'm gonna let Pat go next. Stop letting him go last. Let him go next.
No.
That's
Go
I'm
ahead,
going. I'm going Commanders. This
I don't blame you.
This team is so close to being like decent, and the Pats aren't. Like MacArthur Jones needs to be an insurance salesman somewhere, but he's not an NFL quarterback. Sam Howell, slight spoilers, I've really liked him this season. He's really started to show that like he's a competent quarterback, and he's hung in there. I think you can say what you want. Division games are always close. He hung in there with Jalen Hurts for like most of that game. We can say like Ron Rivera, and that running game is not very good. Who is it? Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibbs, like, yeah. But I think it just comes down to like which one of these teams has players that can make a big play, and betting on Patriots skill players to do anything big is that's playing a Russian roulette with 5 bullets.
Oh,
like,
man.
I'm gonna go Commanders. There's gonna be like a 40-yard touchdown or something that like puts this game out of reach, 17-14, and that's it.
That's rough to say. That's rough to hear, but it's like also true. Like I agree with everything you're saying. Like, and it sucks to hear that. But man, like you make some really good points. But I just think Belichick's track record against I'm not saying Sam Howell's not a rookie, but I don't think he's ever faced Belichick before either. So I'm going by faith on that alone. So whatever. Abe, who do you got? Come on, pick the Commanders, you piece of shit.
I am going to pick the Commanders
Good.
because Sam Howell is a better quarterback in this game than Mac Jones. Listen, I was going to go Patriots because, the fact that Chase Young and Montez Sweat are gone, but there could be a nobody on this defense and they'll pick off Mac Jones. So I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think Sam Howell is a better quarterback. Terry McLaurin is going to get his game. This will be his game to come out, and we'll see what happens there. Curtis Samuel's not a bad option as well at the wide receiver 2 part slot.
Okay. All
Commanders.
right. Man, looks like everybody's playing at 12 o'clock. Next up, we got the 2-6 Chicago Bears traveling to face the 4-4 New Orleans Saints. Who wants to go?
I'll go ahead and go. I don't have much to say on this one because Bears are ass, but I'm going to go with the Saints. They're playing at home. That's a hard place to play in the Mercedes Stadium or Dome. So I'm going to go with the Saints.
Derek Carr throwing the ball.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
Okay. Pat?
I'm also going Saints. Man, the Bears are never going to be like the offense they think that they could be. Darnell Mooney is not good. DJ Moore is great, but like whoever their quarterback is, Bajent, like he's not going to go up against a pretty decent Saints defense. And I think the Saints are at home. Not to mention Alvin Kamara, since he's gotten back from suspension, has gone absolutely insane. So I'll just go. Also, when Taysom Hill is like actually doing his thing around the goal line, and using them in like the gadget kind of plays that they do, like this team can be really tough because it's hard to get hammered by a guy like Kamara 15 times, and then like we're gonna run a little like wildcat option, Taysom Hill for 3 yards first down, and that like breaks your back. So we'll go Saints.
I'll go Saints here also, as much as I hate to, because they're going to stay in pace with the Bucks for the NFC South along with the Falcons. It's just going to be that kind of division all year. But it's not going to be because of Derek Carr. It's going to be the Saints defense. It's going to devour. What's that quarterback's name for the Bears? Bigot?
Bajent.
bigot, stupid. Yeah, it'll be totally dominated by the Saints. It'll be low scoring. I can see this like 14-10, 14-7 even. Yeah, Saints. Okay, moving on. We finally got late afternoon games, or yeah, 3 o'clock. We got the 3-5 Indianapolis Colts traveling to face the 1-6 Carolina Panthers. Who wants to go first?
It's Colts, right? Like, I really like Bryce Young. I think he hasn't had that game yet, but like, it's gonna come at some point this season where you're like, wow, there's a reason why they like went in to get Young. Um, but the Colts just have a team. Like,
Mhm.
you're going between like Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, who are both doing really well, and then like Chuba Hubbard and like the ghost of Miles Sanders. Um, I like DJ Chark for personal reasons, but he's not that great of a receiver at this point in his career. And then you're on the other side, it's like Michael Pittman and Gardner Minshew is like the best 33rd best quarterback ever. Um, like he's a great spot starter. They haven't really missed a beat. Um, and he gets the balls he gets balls into their playmakers. That's
Yeah.
kind of all you need. So yeah, Colts.
You made really good points on all that. I will also go with the Colts. Panthers are just not there yet. I know you mentioned Bryce Young going to have that game this season. I don't think it's going to happen just because, I mean, who's he going to throw? Who's he throwing it to? So they're going to have to rely on the draft next season just to continue to build around this kid. I'm not going to call him a bust or anything like that. He doesn't have a shot, and they're just in rebuilding mode. And yeah, just just wait it out till next season for the Panthers. I hate to say it. Colts.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts. Gardner Minshew has the pieces around him to win some games. Not to mention Jonathan Taylor back as well. The Panthers, like Robert said, like you guys said, he has nobody to throw to. Bryce Young, so I'm gonna go Colts. Easy.
All right, moving on. A lot of bad games here. It's the 2-6 New York Giants traveling to face the 3-5 Las Vegas Raiders. I'll kick this one off. Raiders just fired head coach Josh McDaniels. It looked like at 3 a.m. I think I was still up, and I was like, "What? Breaking news! Like Josh McDaniels fired." I forgot what the name of the backup coach is going to be, but that's not the only story. Is that the Raiders are also going to start Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. It's not going to be Jimmy G. We saw Devontae Adams just, devastated and, hands in his face and just doesn't. You can tell he doesn't want to be there. So I think this is going to be a good opportunity for that Giants defense to devour this team. So I'm gonna go with the Giants here.
Yeah, I'll go Giants too. The Raiders are a mess. We're gonna keep it short. Like the Giants still have pieces. The
Mm.
Giants still have a defense that's decent when it needs to be, and especially when you're going against like a team that's as much of a dumpster fire as the Raiders. Like you just need to be somewhat decent. Saquon Barkley is going to have his game. They're going to get it to what's his name, Josh Hyatt. I think Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good deep threat. Like the Giants still have like pieces that resemble an NFL team and pieces that resemble an NFL coach. Therefore, Giants.
Abe.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this game. I'm gonna go with the Giants. I think their defense
I know
is
you
a
wanted to
little bit
pick the
better.
Raiders, you son of a bitch.
Nah, I am picking the Raiders. Not with that freaking quarterback change. I'm gonna go with the Giants.
All right. We're gonna jump ahead to Monday Night Football because the rest of the games are gonna be our games of the week. It's gonna be the 3-4 Los Angeles Chargers traveling to face the New York Jets at a surprising 4-3. This one's gonna be real interesting. I want to get y'all's takes before I go. So, who wants to go first?
So
I'll
if
go
you
ahead
want
and
to talk,
go. Or are you
okay, go
going,
ahead. Go
Pat?
ahead.
Go ahead. No, yeah,
No,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So if you were going to name any team to be like the Cowboys of the AFC, it's the Chargers, right?
Okay.
Like you
Okay.
have a really talented quarterback and you have really good pieces around him. It doesn't matter. Like they're just going to be okay. all the time.
Hmm.
And because they're 3-4, that means they're gonna beat the Jets to be 4-4, just enough for you to be like, I don't know, this could be the year, but it's not the year. But they have to stay in the playoff picture long enough to disappoint you. Therefore, Chargers.
Okay. Abe?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one. I don't trust Zach Wilson. Yeah, I'm gonna go Chargers. I mean, Herbert's the better quarterback anyway.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, I don't have much to say on that game.
Okay. Call me, sentimental or
Oh,
like Cinderella story.
there we go.
I'm kind of starting to buy into this. Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and play this season.
Oh,
So the Jets are going to play their hearts out until that happens. And like Pat mentioned, it's the Chargers. Who Chargers better than the Chargers? Um, and then we're going to have like probably our second head coach that's fired. I just feel it in my bones. All the defenses or all the quarterbacks that the Jets have faced other than Dak, which I don't know, if they faced again, I think the Jets would have a pretty good handle on him. But they disrupted Mahomes. They who else has the Jets? I was trying to look up their schedule real quick, but the Jets defense has pretty much been able to disrupt quarterbacks. Let me see here. Let me see who they face real quick while I look this up. Give me a second here, guys. All right. Okay. So, where are they? They gave the Eagles their first loss, right? So that was the first loss for the Eagles, and we considered the Eagles the best team in the league so far, according to our power rankings. They put a beating on the Broncos. Say what you want about the Broncos, but Russell Wilson, his stats are not bad. They're actually better than Mahomes this season if you look at it. As I mentioned, the Chiefs, they also gave Mahomes his worst game. I mean, other than this past weekend, they also almost could have come away with that. They beat the Bills, obviously, Josh Allen and the Bills on opening night. So this Jets team, like they've got that little chip on their shoulder, and they've got that little angel on their wings or on the sidelines there, and Aaron Rodgers just making them believe, like, hey, if you guys can make a run at this and keep us like in it, I'll be back before you know it. So again, I just think Staley's got to go for this team to really get over that hump. I'm going Jets. Sorry I went too long on that, but that's how I feel it. Why are you shaking your head, Abe? You're Mr. Aaron Rodgers.
you
Don't you
no,
like that?
you weren't high on him. You were like, oh no, he's not coming back. He's not until next year. But
Yeah,
now
but
all of
now
a sudden he's coming back.
I'm seeing is believing, Abe. The guy's like on the field
Oh man,
throwing and
seeing believing isn't shit, man. Now you
what?
want to be on the bandwagon. Get the fuck
I
out of here.
have
Get
new
the
information in front of me. The
get
guy's on
the
the
hell.
field. The guy's not even
Now
on
all of it.
crutches.
It doesn't matter. Now you're like, oh yeah, he's gonna
You'd
play
be in
now.
a
Get the
body
fuck out of
cast if
here.
you tore your
No, no,
Achilles.
no, no, no. Get the fuck out of here. Now you want to be on that fucking bandwagon. Get the fuck,
I want
man.
to see. I want to see movies. I want to see superstars in my playoffs. Wouldn't you want Aaron Rodgers in
Uh,
the playoffs back in if the Jets can make it happen?
of course, but I'm not gonna be all like, oh, he's gonna play.
I
He's
mean, I'm
gonna
not
come
saying it's
back.
100%, but it's not looking bad for the
It,
Jets right now. The Jets are in a good spot
shit.
right here, and they're at home.
You're gonna you're gonna eat that pick.
I don't live and die on my picks. I mean,
Uh,
you
don't
you
live with
you
that
need to beat
shit.
me. I don't need to beat you.
No, 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 no. I win all the time. It's all the time, man.
All right. Is my pick really that out there, Pat? With the Chargers and all that stuff. I mean, is it really?
I mean, the Jets very easily could beat the Chargers. I don't think it's because they're going to play their hearts out for Aaron Rodgers because he's been in the league since like 1980. So like
Oh,
Achilles heels, he's not coming back this season. That being said,
Bofo,
they
Robert.
still they still have a pretty good defense. They still have Brees Hall, who's been pretty good. Zach Wilson isn't terrible. And all you have to do is be not terrible to give the Chargers like any kind of trouble. So like it very well could go that way.
so
I
it's so
just
it's not
disagree.
so it's not that out of a limb going for them as Abe is making it seem.
No, it's not. It's not for. It's not so crazy that it wouldn't
Yeah,
happen. It's just the
yeah.
narrative is the narrative.
Thank you. All right. Let's get to our games of the week. Let's start with Patrick's because it's going to be Sunday super early. I will be up for this one. I think it's going to be in Germany, I believe, or somewhere in there.
Yep. Yeah. Germany, Dolphins, Chiefs. I picked Dolphins because I mean, these international games, there's no home team.
Mhm.
The Chiefs are fantastic at home, but like if you're putting it on neutral ground, and you look at these teams, it's like, yeah, this is where your top two receivers being Kadarius Toney and Rashee Rice start to like really trouble you because those guys, Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and Mostert, like those guys that's a three-headed monster, and Tua is playing like he wants to be in the MVP discussion. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with the team that can put up 70 points. Pat Mahomes, as much as I love him, as much as everyone loves him, there's just going to be certain limitations when you have one receiving threat, or really one offensive threat, because they're not. I mean, I'm not going to bet money on Pacheco, and I don't know if anyone else really is. So yeah, we're going Dolphins.
I'm going Dolphins as well. I don't think the defense of the Dolphins is going to be fully back yet, so I'm actually expecting this one to kind of be a little bit of a shootout, where like if you'd be like waking up Sunday like let's say 9, 10 o'clock, and you're gonna look and it's gonna be like 30-30 in like the third quarter. You're gonna be like, what the hell's going on? And but this is where I'll give the Dolphins the edge. They do have the better receivers, and I think it's gonna come down to like the Chiefs are gonna have a chance to like win it, and one of the receivers is gonna drop it, which has been like kind of like the story for this
Yeah,
receiving core for the Chiefs. So yeah, the Dolphins will get the edge out here, but I expect it to be a really fun game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one. Too much firepower on the Dolphin side to go against the Chiefs.
Piggyback.
I ain't piggybacking shit because I'm just yeah. Anyway, Dolphins. This is going to be a good game. But Dolphins in the end. That's all I got.
Are you gonna get up early for this one, Abe, or no?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All
I'll watch
right,
it.
let's go to your game next, Abe. It is the America's Game of the Week. 5-2 Dallas Cowboys traveling to face the 7-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Possible NFC Championship game? No.
No.
Okay. Who do you got?
I'm gonna give out some points here, and Pat's probably gonna turn on me, and so maybe Jaco. But the Cowboys they play. I mean, one week they're good, one week they're not. They're hot and cold. The Eagles they're playing in Philly, right? This is in
Correct. Correct.
okay. Oof, that's a tough place to play as well. Um, Eagles are playing right now on all cylinders. They're firing on all cylinders, and then that tush push. I know they had that fumble against the Commanders, but the Cowboys, anything can happen with them, and that might be successful if they do that against the Cowboys. Jalen Hurts is a way better quarterback than Dak Prescott, and he's got receivers, especially with AJ Brown. Not sure how Bland. Maybe Bland might be able to keep up with him. He's going to need help from Gilmore, but I think there's going to be some broken coverage there on some plays, and I'm going to go with the Eagles on this game because I have my narrative. Robert, what is
Oh,
my
jeez.
narrative is that the Eagles are going to go 2-0 and sweep the Cowboys this year.
Oh, that's our bet, right?
That is our
So
wager.
if they lose this one, that's another bet you lose to me. You're gonna go 0-3.
Let me see.
Mm.
What did we wager?
Mm.
I think that was a diet due, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay. All right, Pat, who do you got?
I'm going Eagles too. A lot of the same
Oh,
reasons.
Mm.
A lot of the same
okay.
reasons. They look like they are a complete team. The Cowboys are a complete team sometimes at 12 o'clock, right? When we can talk about AJ Brown and like they're going to they're gonna have to throw like different coverages at him, and they're gonna need help with Gilmore helping them. But you also have Devontae Smith on the other side. That's almost just as dangerous. He's a fantastic number two receiver.
Yeah.
They like to use Swift a lot, and he's gotten better. Um, and then outside of like Jalen Hurts, still is maybe a top four-ish quarterback, if not higher. I'm gonna go with the guy that's the team that's consistently up there, consistently beating teams. And the last good team that the Cowboys played, they got destroyed. So
Mhm.
I
Oh
don't really
yeah.
have an inclination to say Cowboys right now.
Okay. I got a narrative, but not for the reasons you think. Um, I'm going with the Cowboys this week.
What?
They're going to split the matchup because
Uh,
guess what? This is going to be the week where they do it. They're going to play well, and then the media is going to talk them up, and they're going to hype themselves up. Dak and Mike and all those guys to say like they're this is a different year. But then what's that stretch that Pat was talking about earlier? And when do they play the Eagles again? After this?
Oh, it's in December. I have to pull it
Okay.
up.
So it'll be in that stretch, right, where they're gonna play the Dolphins, the Lions, and I forgot who else they're gonna play.
Yeah,
And then
last 5 games: Seahawks, Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions.
okay, so that's I prefer the fall to come later. So this is gonna be the roller coaster where like they're at the top, right? So they beat the Rams last week, and they're gonna just keep going straight. It's gonna be another good game for Dak and the boys this week, and then the fall will come later when they meet up again, and then when they get into that bumpy road with those other teams. So that's my narrative. So the Cowboys will get talked about this week. They'll win, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, they're gonna do it this year. The hope's gonna rise." All of you Cowboys Nation, including that goof right there with the Top Gun shirt, and then things are gonna go one way. And then the best enjoyment I'll get is when that other Fugazi Jake loses his mind and he'll start blaming other things. Cowboys this week.
well,
Yeah. What do you think of
all
that? You
right.
weren't expecting that hype. It wasn't because of it's not because of the bet. It's because of the long game that I played.
Nah, it's because of the bet.
No, it's not. I don't give a
Yeah,
damn.
it
I'm
is.
already
You
2 and
just
0 against you. If
uh,
I lose this one, no big deal. All right, folks, it's time to move to my game of the week, which is the Sunday night game. Pretty good one here. It's the 5-3 Buffalo Bills traveling to face Joey Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals 4-3. I'm going to kick this one off since this is my game of the week. Bengals are at home coming off a great win against I know they're beating down 49ers team right now, but still one of the top teams in the NFL. They started off slow in September, but Joe Burrow was looking so good on Sunday, connecting with Jamar Chase and gave me a lot of good fantasy points. So thank you for that, Joey B. And I will see that trend continue as the Bengals start to become inching closer and closer to being the best team in the NFL. And spoiler alert, folks, this team will be in my revised Super Bowl pick. So sorry to spoil that a little bit early, but they will be
oh my
representing me
gosh.
in the Super Bowl. I got the Bengals winning good here against the Bills. Come on, Abe. Come on.
Um,
God, I own you. I own you.
you don't own shit. So I said this also in the first episode this year that the Bills, this is the fall of the Bills, and that trend is gonna continue. I know they beat the Bucks, but who gives a shit? Josh Allen. I mean, this guy. I don't know. I mean, he does some good plays, and Stephon Diggs gets frustrated and all that, and then he ends up being a top performer. But the Bengals, they like Robert said, they're up and coming, and they're gonna start getting scary. So they're playing on the road. They're playing in Cincy, so I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
After all that, you schlub.
I told you it was the fall of the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going Bengals. This just seems like this was in no way feeding into any narrative, but yeah, it just feels like the Bengals at some point were going to get their shit together, and it just seems like they're starting to actually do that. T. Higgins finally like is getting involved again, even though he didn't have like a great game uh, last week. He's still like, okay, I see where you're going. Uh, Couple that with like Josh Allen's not great against playoff teams, and Josh Allen always has like one or two throws that you're like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow just shines in these games. Like we've seen this, so perfect timing for the Bengals. the worst timing for the Bills. It's going to be Bengals.
Dude, if the Bills lose and the Jets win, the Bills will be third in the AFC East. How quick there's Abe's follow the Bills right there.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
are you revising your Super Bowl pick like right now, or are you doing it
No,
Thanksgiving?
I'm just telling you one half of it.
Who did you pick? Who did you have anyway in the beginning?
Originally, like
Well,
original.
No. I think just the most recent revised one.
The second revised that we had to do because
Yeah.
Rodgers went down. I had Miami, San Francisco, but I'm already spoiling it. The Bengals will be there in the Super Bowl, so that's my AFC side. I still got to think about the NFC, so I still have time until after Thanksgiving when we can do our final revision for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But for sure, the Bengals will be my lock it in for AFC.
I think mine was.
No, you don't get to change it now.
Yeah, mine. No, I'm not changing it right now.
Good,
but we
good.
need a. I don't remember what Jake's. Well, Jake's was the Cowboys and the Chiefs, right?
Correct.
Some bullshit like that. So Pat, who do you guys your Super Bowl?
Super Bowl?
Or who do you think is representing?
I think I'll probably go Dolphins. I'll probably go Dolphins, Eagles. When I look at the AFC or the NFC, I should say, Eagles are obviously the best team. And even though a couple weeks ago I was thinking, yeah, it's going to be the 49ers. Like they're hitting the slump. I don't know. I think we're finally going to see like the downfall, not downfall, but like Brock Purdy is going to come back to earth. And like when the dust settles, like Brock Purdy is a pretty good quarterback versus like an MVP in Jalen Hurts. So I'm gonna say, and I can't think of any team that's going to realistically really challenge the Eagles for the NFC. For the AFC, I'll probably go Dolphins. That's a little more fun to play in because the Bills could get it together, and you do have the Bengals who are right there. But I'm gonna go with like the team with like really good play calling, with the best receiver in football. And like if this defense gets healthy, if Xavier Howard comes back and Jalen Ramsey like is not even great, just solid. Like this is a team that's going to be really hard to beat. And it's really, really dangerous to have that offense rolling have everything rolling and have a somewhat decent defense.
All right, Eagles, Dolphins for Pat. We'll lock that in right now, and if you show up later in the season, bud, you'll get to revise your pick post Thanksgiving. So you can think on that for a little bit. All right, that is week 9. We've gone through all the matchups and all our picks are locked in. I will give Jake's picks at the end of the episode once we're through here. Let's jump into the what if the playoffs started today. So this week, our number 1 seeds did not change. So right now for the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs would get the bye and the Philadelphia Eagles would get the bye. So we're looking at wild card weekend. These are the matchups. Let's go through them like top to bottom. In the AFC, we'll start with the 7th seed Cleveland Browns would go to face the Miami Dolphins. Who do we like in this matchup?
Miami.
I'm going to go with Miami.
Yeah, we're all in consensus. Miami. I mean, the better quarterback, better offense. Even though Cleveland's defense is no joke, Tua and those boys will be too much. So, all right, so lock in the Dolphins here for that. On the NFC side of things, the 7th seed Minnesota Vikings would be in today, traveling to face the Detroit Lions at number 2.
Lions
easily.
Lions as well for me. Crazy.
Isn't it weird to say that it's the playoff? This would be a playoff scenario, and you're like the Lions easily.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's crazy how far along this team has come, and good for them, right? On just turning everything around. Their OC not getting enough credit, Ben Johnson. I mean, that guy's going to be a head coach. He should have been a head coach this year, but he wanted to stick it out with the Lions, and it's paying off. We'll see how far they go in the playoffs. But that guy's definitely going to be a head coach sooner rather than later. All right, so we're all on the Lions there. Next matchup for the AFC would be the 6th seed Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to face the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 3. Who do you got here?
Jaguars.
Trevor Lawrence for me gets the job
Yeah,
done.
Trevor Lawrence.
It's Jags. Not Tyler. Travis Etienne is fantastic. Trevor Lawrence, although I thought he'd be better than he is, he's still really young and still really good. I think eventually he does take that leap into top 6-ish quarterback. But they have a good team. They have real people to throw to. No disrespect, but Jags.
Yeah. All right, next up for the NFC. Remember, this is like if they started today, so we have to go by how the teams are right now. So the next matchup would be the number 6 San Francisco 49ers traveling to face the Seattle Seahawks at home.
You said the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, on the road. No Debo. Brock Purdy's not playing well. And I don't know. I think McCaffrey, he's not hurt, but that oblique injury is kind of like lingering a little bit.
I'm gonna go with Seattle.
They also did get Chase Young, so remember that.
They did, but I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Pat?
Yeah. I don't want to pick Seattle. I don't see anyone that really puts them over the top. Whereas you obviously have Christian McCaffrey, but it's really hard. It's really hard to see one person overcome just a really good balanced team. They're more than the sum of their parts, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
Seahawks. If it was right now, yeah.
Yeah, I'd pick the Seahawks too. Brock Purdy on the road with the way he's been playing the last few weeks, and then you add in the atmosphere of the Seattle Seahawks. I think that would just be too much for him right now, and I think Seattle would ride off of that, and then he'd be making a lot of mistakes. So I got the Seahawks as well. And then the final matchup in the AFC would be the number 5 Buffalo Bills traveling to face the number 4 seed, the Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens.
The fall of the Bills.
Follow the Bills, man.
4 or 5 matchups are always interesting. And it's more interesting when you have 2 teams that historically don't have a whole lot of, or at least I should say recently, because the Ravens won the Super Bowl somewhat recently. But they haven't really done a whole lot in the playoffs, these past 2 teams, as they're currently constructed. I'm gonna go Ravens. I'll go Ravens. That's a better run offense. And Josh Allen, those 1 to 2 really, really dumb throws that he makes a game, you can't really do that against Lamar Jackson and the way that offense is run. And that's a really good defense. So I'll say if they were to play today, it would be a low scoring 13-10 Ravens win.
Yeah, I'll go with the Ravens as well. I just think that defense would make Josh Allen make mistakes on the road. And just the way we're at right now, if the Baltimore Ravens later on were injured, I'd probably favor Buffalo. But the way the teams are constructed right now, I got the Ravens with the edge. And I said Baltimore's an underrated place to play, so they would win that matchup. And then the final one on the NFC side of things, it would be the Dallas Cowboys at number 5 on the road traveling to face the Atlanta Falcons, the number 4 seed. I'm going Cowboys. They'll get it. They'll get past this round.
Playing the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow, you really think about that, Abe?
Will they?
Well, I mean,
with Taylor Heineke.
The gunslinger?
He's not against Micah Parsons.
He's got Bijan. Oh, motherfucker. Now you want to bring Micah. Oh, my.
I've never said he's not good. I'm just saying on the games that he is good, he's good. But when he's bad, he pouts.
I got to go with the Cowboys on this one. I can't go against them. Not with the Falcons.
Homer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I won't think too hard about it. Falcons need an actual quarterback.
Okay.
So until that happens, Cowboys.
All right. So we're pretty synergized on our picks. So we would go into the divisional round and we would see the Chiefs face the Ravens.
Uh, I'm gonna go Ravens.
Me too. I think this is not the year for the Chiefs. It's
Yeah.
not because I don't hate Mahomes. I have him as the best quarterback in the league, Jake. But I just think every year is not going to be their year, and it's hard to get back to the Super Bowl, despite Brady doing it constantly.
I'll go Chiefs. This might not be their year, but it will be their weekend, right? Like the as much as we talked about, like there's no one that Pat Mahomes can throw to outside of Travis Kelce. Like he's still gonna have like give Sky Moore 70 yards and a touchdown on a broken play. Uh, and as much as I want to say the Ravens, Lamar Jackson hasn't had a great amount of playoff success, and then B, like Pat Mahomes has been there, done that. I think we said the same thing last year. So
Yeah.
even though it's worse, more so today, like he's at least gonna go to the AFC
Mm.
Championship. So yeah,
Okay. All right. On the NFC, we got the number one Eagles hosting the Cowboys. So this would be the third time they'd be facing off.
It's kind of hard for teams to beat them, like a full sweep like that, like winning three in a row. But in this case, anything can happen. Eagles, Eagles.
What do you got, Pat?
yeah, Eagles by 20.
Yeah.
Damn.
This is the fall apart game. This is like we're facing a team that has a quarter. Like you go from in this scenario facing Tyler Heineke and like a guy who just might get another shot again to like
Yeah.
maybe the MVP. Eagles by 20, complete team. Cowboys getting their own way all the time, and their play calling is not good.
Do I dare put the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game? Nah, not, not, not this year. I got the Eagles winning this matchup. It'll be hard fought. I'll say this: the Cowboys will put up a fight, but I think the Eagles will they'll make a couple more plays at the end. Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Man,
Good
I
matchup.
think this is still too much firepower
really
for the Dolphins. I'm gonna go Dolphins on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I said Dolphins earlier, so I'm gonna have to go Dolphins. But also, Trevor Lawrence is new to this. So is Tua. But when you have that kind of power, and you have like that play calling that they have, um, they're hard to stop. Shout out the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a really good defense. They're a really good team. Just not better than the Dolphins.
I'm going with the Jags. I just think this is a breakout year for Trevor Lawrence to put himself on that ledge, with the top quarterbacks in the game and a team that'll be competitive for years to come. But based on our picks, it's going to end up being the Dolphins on the next round. And then the final one for the NFC would be the Detroit Lions hosting the Seattle Seahawks.
Lions. I'll go Lions on this one.
Me too.
You're saying Lions are going to win 2 playoff games?
Can see it.
Dang. Yeah.
And they're at home.
I won't be a contrarian. Just to say something else, I'll say Lions.
Okay.
Still got Jahmyr Gibbs. Jared Goff has still had a really good season. Still have top tier weapons. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the difference maker because he's someone that can actually make the bigger plays that he has a star power that Seattle just doesn't have.
All right, so we have our championship game set. So the AFC title game would be the Miami Dolphins hosting, based on our picks, and the Ravens winning 2-1 over the Chiefs. They would be hosting the Ravens for the AFC title game.
You said Lions and Ravens?
No, Dolphins Ravens for the AFC.
Dolphins Ravens?
Yeah.
Dolphins Ravens.
Dolphins at home, don't forget.
Okay, well, again, I mean, that being no injuries, happened during that. But I think the Dolphins would be too much for Lamar Jackson. I'm going to go Dolphins here.
Pat?
Yeah, I got to go Dolphins. I love the Ravens. I think they're really really well balanced, or a really really good team. Balanced in terms of good defense and pretty good offense. Um, when you're going like if you're looking at it this way, they're the Dolphins also have not been like a great playoff team for a long time. So to imagine them in an AFC championship at home, um, against a team that like they have a spotty record in the past few years, it's gonna be Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins too, although the Ravens will put up a good fight. I don't think Lamar won't get knocked because he got to the AFC Championship game, so his legacy or questions about him won't be as much. It just they lost to a more offensive minded, creative team, and I think Mike McDaniel, I think he's going to end up winning Coach of the Year. That's just my opinion, and he'll lead this Dolphins squad to the Super Bowl in Vegas. And then for the NFC Championship game, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, defending NFC champions, hosting the Detroit Lions, the feisty Lions. Who do we like here to represent the NFC? I'll let Pat go first.
Eagles. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Eagles. I'm not gonna stress too much on it. It's a great run, Jared Goff. Legacy saved. Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Abe?
I'm going to go with the Lions.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to go with the Lions. This defense, yeah, their defense is good. And I know they've both been to the Super Bowl, but I got to give the edge to Goff. I think Goff is a lot better quarterback under pressure than Hurts is. I don't know if y'all saw that game against the Jets where he was just getting pressured and he was making mistakes. So I'll go with the Lions.
Man, I really thought the Eagles were going to be represented again. I'm going with the Lions too, just because it's hard to get back to the Super Bowl. Again, regardless of how easy Tom Brady made it look, it's super hard. Mike McDaniel versus Ben Johnson in the Super Bowl, a creative just outpouring of all these trick plays and all these motion plays. And I think this would be a really fun Super Bowl. Although we were close to getting Pat's pick, which would have been Dolphins Eagles, which I think would have been a good one too. But Lions Dolphins would be your Super Bowl matchup today if it happened in Las Vegas based on us playing this game.
Are we picking a winner?
Sure. What do you got?
Lions.
Lions? The
Lions.
underdog Lions. They're no longer
Gotta
a joke.
I mean, you got Hill and Waddle, but I think Amon St. Brown is a way better receiver. I gotta go Lions.
Pat?
I'll go Dolphins. Dolphins all the way, right? We've seen shout out Jared Goff, had a great season. We've seen what he looks like in the Super Bowl with a great play calling coach before. And they couldn't get past the 50-yard line. Like, she's a better quarterback now. I get all that. And I almost picked Lions because he has that experience before. It's just, this is where it's like those end arounds or those slants that go for 80 yards because you have two guys who are absolutely lightning fast. I love the Lions defense. I think it just becomes too much. There's too many options for them to go to. So Dolphins.
I like the Dolphins here too. I think the Mike McDaniel Super Bowl parade speech will be one for the record books. That guy's like such a hoot whenever they interview him, just because I would want to see that. But again, everything that you mentioned, Pat, spot on. Lions is also a good story, and that would just solidify them as just being a contender for years to come. which I think that's a good first year for them, like on this track. So, but Dolphins, McDaniel, holds up the Lombardi, and Tua after going through what he did last year.
Yeah, almost retired.
Yeah,
apparently.
So that'd be a nice little story. Either way, it would be a fun Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
All right, that's our what if the playoffs started today game. And Abe, I think we covered it all. Unless there's anything else we need to talk about.
No. Yeah, I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, you want to plug our socials and thank our special guests for being here today?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and our email. Don't forget if you want to send your picks or you want to just have us bring up a topic on the show.
Be
Write
a
us
guest.
the email. Yeah, be a guest as well. Our email is 2minute. That's the number 2 being spelled out. TWO Minute Drive Podcast at outlook.com. Our X account is at UR Pod. And then, of course, we got Facebook and Instagram with the 2 Minute Drive Podcast. Make sure you're spelling out that 2, folks. TWO. And Patrick, my boy, thanks for coming out, man. And I appreciate it. I hope that we can have you back on the show again. If you have some people that if they listen, go ahead and share the video or the link when Robert posts it out. That way you can tell your people and maybe they want to come on. I mean, we welcome anybody on here.
I got to get you on Facebook, Patrick. Are you on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, I'll look you up right now. So that way I'll be able to tag you and all that stuff. But thanks a lot, man, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Really good insight and analysis from you. I would love to have you back on. Like, this is a great conversation today.
Just let me know, man.
All right, Abe, you want to sign us off?
All right, folks. From all of us here at Palace Productions, Robert, it was a pleasure, like always. It was my birthday, so it was a great birthday. Rangers
Happy
won,
birthday.
by the way. They won the World Series.
Congratulations!
So shout out to the Rangers, and until next time, folks.
All right, special thanks to Patrick for joining today's show. We really appreciate it. Before we completely sign off here, I had to get in Jaco's top 5 power ranking teams and his picks. So let's start with his top 5 teams after Week 8. So at number 5, he's got the Miami Dolphins. At number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars. At number 3, the Dallas Cowboys. At number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. And at number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles. And as far as the matchups for this Week 9, this week, Jake's got the Steelers over the Titans. He's got the Chiefs over the Dolphins. The Vikings over the Falcons. The Browns over the Cardinals. The Packers over the Rams. The Patriots over the Commanders. The Bears over the Saints. The Ravens over the Seahawks. The Bucks over the Texans. The Panthers over the Colts. The Raiders over the Giants. The Eagles over the Cowboys. And the Bengals over the Bills. And finally, on Monday Night Football, he's got the Chargers over the Jets. So those are Jake's picks for Week 9. He'll be back next week. Thank you guys for joining on today's episode. This does feed off of the Palace Off the Top Rope network feed on Podbean or Spotify or however you get your podcasts, however you listen to them. Just look for the 2 Minute Drive podcast, which is on there along with all the other episodes that I've done of my podcast. So you can tune in there. Appreciate it so much. And we'll check you guys next week on the 2 Minute Drive podcast. See you next time.